mystery that got solved only to lead to another deeper mystery. Why would a seemingly happy husband and father disappear, vanish? Wait until you see what his family learns when they finally find him.
The February wind howled through Indianapolis, Indiana on February 10th, 1993, rattling the windows of a modest ranch house on West 37th Street. Snow dusted the driveway where Linda Eisler's station wagon sat, its engine still warm from a grocery run. Inside, the house glowed with the soft hum of domestic life, pots simmering on the stove, the TV flickering with a Seinfeld rerun, and the laughter of two boys, Matthew, 9, and Douglas, 6, playing Nintendo in the living room. Linda, 34, with warm brown eyes and a tired smile, stirred a pot of chili, her mind on her husband, Richard Hoagland. He'd been distant lately, his insurance salesman charm dimmed by late nights and vague excuses. But tonight, he'd promised to be home early, to celebrate Matthew's science fair win. In her apron pocket, she tucked a small gift for him, a tie clip engraved with "Always Yours," a gesture to rekindle the spark of their 11-year marriage. Richard and Linda's love story had been a fairy tale once. They'd met in 1980 at a county fair, her laughter catching his ear as he won her a stuffed bear at a ring toss. He was 27, charismatic, with a quick wit and dreams of building a secure life. She was 22, a bank teller with a kind heart, smitten by his promises. They married in 1982, built a home, and welcomed their sons. But cracks had formed. Richard's gambling debts, his secretive phone calls, his trips to clients that stretched into days. Linda trusted him, though, believing his lies about work stress. Tonight, she hoped, would be a fresh start. The phone rang at 5:47 p.m., shattering the evening's calm. Linda wiped her hands, expecting Richard's voice, but his tone was frantic, clipped. "I'm at Community Hospital," he said. "Chest pains. I'm okay, but I need you to pick me up." Her heart lurched. "Stay there, I'm coming," she said, grabbing her coat. She called her neighbor, Mrs. Delaney, to watch the boys, promising to be back soon. The hospital was a 15-minute drive, but the snow-slicked roads stretched it to 20. Linda's knuckles whitened on the wheel, her mind racing. He's only 40. A heart attack? At Community Hospital, the ER buzzed with nurses and gurneys. Linda scanned the waiting room, her breath catching. No Richard. She approached the desk, her voice trembling. "My husband, Richard Hoagland. He called about chest pains." The nurse checked her records, her brow furrowing. "No one by that name's been admitted, ma'am." Linda's stomach dropped. She dialed Richard's pager, then their home phone, but no answer. Panic clawed at her. She drove home, praying he'd be there. But the house was as she'd left it, chilly cold, boys asleep, Mrs. Delaney knitting on the couch. Richard was gone. The next morning, February 11th, 1993, Linda filed a missing persons report with the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police. Detective Robert Callahan, a grizzled veteran with kind eyes, took her statement. "Any signs of trouble? Fights? Debts?" he asked. Linda hesitated, then admitted Richard's gambling, the late-night calls. "But he'd never leave us," she insisted, clutching Matthew's science fair ribbon. Callahan nodded, but his gut told him this wasn't a random disappearance. Richard's car, a blue Buick, was found abandoned at Indianapolis International Airport, keys in the ignition, no luggage. His bank accounts were untouched, his wallet left on the kitchen counter. To Linda, it was a nightmare. To Callahan, it was a man running from something or someone. Days turned to weeks, then months. Linda's life became a blur of police updates, creditor calls, and whispered gossip. Did he owe the mob? Was he kidnapped? Neighbors brought casseroles, but their pity stung. Matthew stopped smiling, his grades slipping. Douglas asked nightly, "When's Daddy coming home?" Linda clung to hope, pasting missing posters across Marion County, her eyes scanning every stranger's face. But Richard was a ghost. By summer, the bank foreclosed on their home, forcing Linda and the boys into a cramped apartment. She worked double shifts at a diner, her dreams of a stable family shattered. "I wasn't married to a monster," she told herself, echoing a sentiment from another betrayed spouse years later. "I was married to a man who lied." Fast forward to July 20th, 2016, 23 years later. In West Palm Beach, Florida, the sun blazed over a gated community where Terry Szymanski, 63, sipped coffee on his patio. Terry was a local fixture, charming, silver-haired, married to Mary Hickman since 1995, with a grown son, Blake, from a previous marriage. He ran a small boat rental business, his life a postcard of contentment. But Terry wasn't Terry. He was Richard Hoagland, living a lie that had held for 2 decades. That morning, his phone buzzed with a text from Mary. "Dinner at 7. Love you." He smiled, unaware that 1,200 miles away, in Indianapolis, a single photo was about to unravel his world. In Indianapolis, Linda Eisler, now 57, had rebuilt her life. Remarried to a kind mechanic, Tom, she worked as a paralegal, her boys grown, Matthew, a teacher, Douglas, an engineer. The pain of Richard's abandonment lingered, but she'd found peace. That afternoon, browsing Ancestry.com for a family tree project, Matthew stumbled on a photo that stopped his heart. It was his mother, Linda, from a 1980s church picnic, uploaded by a distant cousin. But the caption read, "Linda Hoagland, deceased 1991, car accident." Matthew's hands shook. His father had told everyone Linda was dead. Why? Matthew called Linda, his voice urgent. "Mom, you're listed as dead online. Dad's behind this." Linda's breath caught, the old wound reopening. She contacted Detective Callahan, now retired, but still in touch. He referred her to Anthony Cardillo, a detective with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, who specialized in cold cases. Cardillo dug into the Ancestry.com lead, tracing the photo to a Florida user, Mary Szymanski. A background check revealed Terry Szymanski's ID was tied to a man who died in 1991, his death certificate used to create a new identity. Fingerprints from Terry's 1995 marriage license matched Richard Hoagland's from a 1980s speeding ticket. The truth hit like a thunderbolt. Richard was alive, living as Terry, with a secret family. On August 2nd, 2016, Cardillo and 2 deputies knocked on Terry Szymanski's door in West Palm Beach. Richard, in khakis and a polo, answered, his smile fading as Cardillo said, "Mr. Hoagland, we need to talk." Richard's face paled, but he didn't run. Inside, Mary and Blake watched, confused, as deputies cuffed him. "I'm not Terry," he admitted, his voice low. "I'm Richard Hoagland. I left Indiana in '93. Mary's gasp filled the room. "You told me your wife died," she cried, clutching Blake. Richard's eyes dropped, no answer forthcoming. The deputies led him away, his secret life exposed by a single photo. The investigation unfolded like a true crime documentary, gripping the nation. Richard's deception was meticulous. In 1993, facing gambling debts and potential fraud charges, he'd staged his hospital call to buy time. He fled to Florida, renting a room in Zephyr Hills under the name Terry Szymanski, whose death certificate he'd found in a courthouse. Using forged documents, he built a new identity: driver's license, social security number, even a pilot's license. He married Mary Hickman in 1995, claiming his first wife, Linda, died in a car crash. Mary, a nurse, believed him, raising Blake as her own. Richard sent no money to Linda or his sons, leaving them to face foreclosure and heartbreak. In Indianapolis, Linda and her sons faced a media storm. Husband's secret life uncovered after 23 years. Photo of dead wife. Exposes fugitive. Reporters camped outside their apartment, cameras flashing. Social media erupted. Hoagland hoax trended, with posts like, "He abandoned his kids for a new family? Monster." Others speculated, maybe Linda knew. Why didn't she look harder? The accusations stung, but Linda's pain was deeper. "I trusted him," she told people. "He was my soulmate. How could he do this?" Matthew and Douglas grappled with rage. Richard had been 60 miles away when Douglas graduated from college, never reaching out. The confrontation came on September 10, 2016, at the Palm Beach County Jail. Linda, Matthew, and Douglas faced Richard through a glass partition, a visitation scene charged with decades of pain. Linda's voice shook. "Why, Richard? You left us to drown." Richard, in an orange jumpsuit, avoided her eyes. "I was in trouble. Debts, bad deals. I thought you'd be better off without me." Matthew's fists clenched. "Better off? We lost everything. You had a new son, a new wife, while we scraped by." Douglas, quieter, asked, "Did you ever think of us?" Richard's silence was his answer, a confession of cowardice. Linda stood, tears falling. "You didn't just leave. You erased us." She walked away, her sons beside her. Richard's lies a weight they'd carry forever. The trial, starting March 2017, was a spectacle. Prosecutors charged Richard with identity theft, fraud, and Social Security misuse, citing his use of Terry Szymanski's identity to evade taxes and debts. Evidence was damning. Forged documents, bank records showing Richard's new life funded by Mary's income, and testimony from Linda, who detailed the foreclosure and emotional toll. Richard's defense argued he'd fled under duress, fearing loan sharks, but offered no proof. Mary testified, her voice breaking, about believing his lies. "I loved him," she said. "He told me his wife was dead." The real Terry Szymanski's family, devastated by the identity theft, demanded justice. On June 14, 2017, Richard pleaded guilty, was sentenced to 2 years in prison, and was ordered to pay $1,000 monthly restitution to Linda, a fraction of her losses. The aftermath was a mosaic of pain and healing. Mary and Blake, betrayed, moved to Georgia, rebuilding without Richard's shadow. Linda faced creditor harassment as Richard's debts resurfaced, but she refused to break. "I survived him once," she told Dateline. "I'll do it again." Matthew and Douglas, now fathers, vowed to protect their families from such deception. Hamilton County, Indiana, buzzed with gossip. Some blamed Linda for not seeing Richard's lies. Others vilified him as a sociopath. The case sparked debates on identity theft laws, leading to tighter regulations in Florida. Marcus Carter, a fictional firefighter and Linda's cousin, enters as a narrative bridge. In 1993, Marcus was 30, a rookie at Station 12, who'd urged Linda to question Richard's late nights. When Richard vanished, Marcus helped post flyers, his guilt growing for not pushing harder. In 2016, he was at Linda's side when Cardillo called, his firefighters calm, masking fury. During the jail visit, Marcus stayed silent, letting Linda speak, but his eyes burned into Richard, a man who'd torched a family. Post-trial, Marcus opened Isler's Haven, a community center in Indianapolis, offering financial literacy classes to prevent others from falling prey to deceit. He signed the lease in 2018, his pen steady, memories of Linda's strength fueling him. The true crime angle gripped the public. Detective Cardillo's team used digital forensics to trace the Ancestry.com photo, a breakthrough in a case dormant for decades. Court records detailed Richard's lies, his claim to Mary that Linda died, his forged pilot's license, and his failure to pay child support. People reported Richard's letters to Mary from prison, begging forgiveness, but she burned them, her trust shattered.
What did you love about him?
He was a lot of fun to be with.
Then, February 10, 1993, Richard vanished. Never came home from his insurance job. Called, said he was sick, going to the hospital. Linda calls the hospital, not a trace. Her husband had disappeared. Didn't even take his passport.
His toothbrush?
No, it's still there. He didn't pack any clothes. It was cold. It was in February. He did not take a coat.
Linda called the cops and Mom.
She said, "Rick's gone." I said, "God, where'd he go?"
Boy, if she only knew. Son Matthew was 9 at the time, baby brother Doug, just 6.
One day your dad was there, the next day,
Gone.
gone.
I thought, initially you think, okay, this won't last too long. He'll be back.
Eventually, that hope disappeared too.
How do you walk away from your own children? How do you turn your back?
The clip captures Linda's raw pain, asking, why did he walk out? How could he do it? Flashbacks revealed Richard's descent. In 1992, he'd lost $50,000 at casinos, borrowing from shady lenders. A fraud investigation loomed at his insurance firm, though never been proven. His hospital call was planned. He'd packed a bag, hidden cash, and researched identities in library archives. In Florida, he charmed Mary with tales of a tragic past, his lies seamless. He coached Blake's Little League, never mentioning Matthew or Douglas, his first sons erased. Linda's suffering, evictions, diner shifts, comforting her boys, was a world he ignored, his new life a betrayal renewed daily. Linda, Matthew, and Douglas carried their scars, their strength a quiet victory. The Ancestry.com photo, a digital ghost, had exposed a liar, proving no secret stays buried forever. This story is rooted in the real Richard Hoagland case, a deception uncovered by a photo that shattered 2 families. Linda's resilience, Mary's heartbreak, and the question, who's lying, echo beyond Indiana. If this moved you, if you faced a hidden truth, like, share, and subscribe. Healing starts with us, turning betrayal into strength. Thank you for watching. May you find peace in the hardest truths.